Hello, everyone. Oh, there is this annoying buzzing sound in my house. So annoying. Hello, well, welcome to Untangled, episode 60. Really excited to be here with you guys today. We talk about the evolution in human consciousness. We make the uncomfortable comfortable. We just untangle ourselves from all the illusions of who we think we are. It's just a deep remembrance over and over and over and over and over, 10 times over every single day, reminding ourselves we are not who we think we are. This is the illusion, and yet it is very real. Hello, Astrid. Hello, Kristen. Hello, Krista. Hi, Mishi and Kendra and Jennifer. How are you guys doing? Hi, Sina. How's everyone feeling? Man, I wish I couldn't hear that buzzing noise. It's very, very frustratingly annoying. How are you guys doing? Hi, Napa. Aloha, Louise. Hello, Lois. Depressed, emotional. I feel great. Feeling great. Love to you all from the Netherlands. Hi, London. I'm feeling great. Overwhelmed, grateful. Something's happening. I feel okay. I feel depressed. Hello from Romania. Promising. I feel amazing. Hi, Canada. A bit uncertain. Can you guys hold on a second? I gotta look at this for a second. Just pause 1 second. One of the things that happens as you move through this most magnificent WTF evolution in human consciousness is that your senses become more sensitive. You hear more, you see more, you feel more. Your body is, turning on. Your body is becoming more and more sensitive, which isn't a bad thing. It's actually the natural process of awakening. So we've been born into a body. So your consciousness was incarnated and it moved itself into a physical body that was very dense. And because we are all energy, everything is energetic, the body is energetic, the world is energetic. And we dropped into a physical form and we forgot how this world works because of the density of this physical world. It was sensory overload. And so there was this experience. I would say probably the first 5 years of our lives is we learn how to desensitize ourselves. Our family, our friends, parents, teachers, they teach us how to desensitize ourselves, which is basically no longer feeling certain things, listening to certain things. We turn the volume down from our natural state. That which we saw in the energetic world, whether it was angels or guides or whatever it was, we were told not to see, or we were told we were crazy, or we were told weren't there. All kinds of emotions we weren't allowed to feel. They were not okay. They were inappropriate. That meant that you were a bad kid or a good kid, depending upon what emotions you felt. You weren't allowed to express yourself in your natural way of expressing. And so you were told what is okay to say and what isn't okay to say, what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. If you grew up in a culture where you were a boy, a physical boy, you were taught not to cry and not to express. And if you were brought up as a girl in a specific culture, a physical girl, then you were taught, that not to be certain ways. So there is deep programming and a deep sense of disembodiment, no longer feeling the energetic world as energy. So years go by and we start to live through mind, not through body. Living through the mind means that you are processing everything that you are experiencing through a mind state. You think it. You don't feel it. And it's quite scary because you are no longer connected to the body. Thank you, Lauren, for the super chat. You're not connected to emotional states. You're not connected to your intuition. You're not connected to higher sensory sounds. You're not connected to other people's own energy fields, right? And so what happens in this process of awakening, which is what's occurring on the planet right now, is that you start to move back into your body. You start to embody. And when you start to embody, you start feeling a lot more. You start recognizing a lot more of your thoughts. You start recognizing a lot more of your feelings. You start recognizing a lot different sounds, different smells. Everything intensifies. And that simply is to the natural process of awakening. Many of you have already been feeling so much throughout your life. You would call yourself an empath. And there's the one of the things around being an empath, fortunately or unfortunately, is there's this story around it, or a deep, deep programmed way of seeing it as a victim mentality. You don't know how to feel, and you don't know how to feel safe in the world. Nobody taught you that you're actually designed to naturally feel as much as possible all day long, and that when you walk out the door, you're going to feel and feel and feel. When you're sitting in your computer, you're going to feel and feel and feel. When you're sending an email, you're going to feel. When you anything you do, you're going to feel. And somehow we have been programmed to believe that there is something wrong with that. And that somebody outside of us is doing something to us because we haven't been taught how to be sovereign. Sovereign means that you are in your own energetic field. You are safe to feel every single thing that you're feeling. How could you not be? We are all energetic beings. The physical body is energy, and everything that you encounter, including a coffee cup, is energy. And so to say that you are not safe to feel every single thing as energy is the most insane, absurd, ridiculous thing that a human could possibly believe. It's completely inverted. It's the opposite. The opposite of not feeling safe, being able to be energetic, is that you are completely safe to be energetic. It's the only way to be, because that is how this world exists. It's energy and physicality. So you have to be able to feel everything as energy, and remembering that you're a sovereign being in physicality with a field around you that keeps you safe. This idea that somebody, that when you are hanging out with people, that their energy moves into your body and impacts you, is actually not true. It's what it feels like, but it's not true. We just haven't been taught how to recognize that we have an energetic field around us that constantly, always, 24/7 keeps us safe. That doesn't mean that you don't feel other people's energies. So when you are around somebody that is complaining all the time, or is angry all the time, or is whatever, bitches and moans all the time, whatever they do, or they're manipulative or controlling, when you're around them, your energy is going to feel that. It's going to pick up on that. Thank you so much for the super chat, Nan Curly. Right? And so there's a field. I like to call it like bumper cars. Okay. There's always a bumper. The bumper is going to hit another car. It's going to bump into the bumper of the other car. It doesn't actually hit you. That's why there's a bumper. It doesn't actually hit the car. It hits the bumper of the car. You're rattled, you feel it, but it's not yours. So every single time that you experience anything in this world, you are bumping up against it. The reason it feels like it's going into your body is because we forgot how this energetic world works. It's that simple. We forgot that there is an energy field around us that is designed to protect us from anyone else's energies coming into our field and impacting our internal energy system. And so the more that we can remember this, the less we become victims, the more empowered we become, and the more we realize when we are interacting with people that it's just me as a bumper car tapping up and against somebody else that's a bumper car, and their energies may be intense. And when I leave the space with them, I may feel certain ways I didn't feel before. But if you remember how this entire world works, you realize their energy didn't go into you. It just hit the bumper, and you are consumed by that energy right now because it's vibrating off your bumper. We're not taught this. You see, the world wants you to be in a victim state. The world wants you to feel disempowered. By God, like if we started to realize how powerful we were and that energies from the outside world don't actually impact us. They're not actually us and they don't actually come into our bodies. And we're actually complete. Thank you so much, Angelo, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. If we realize that we are empowered sovereign beings in physical form, walking around capable of feeling absolutely anything, and that nobody actually has an effect on my internal world, do you realize how powerful the human would be? That everything is actually a choice, everything, that there is no such thing as victimhood. But there are a lot of stories around being an empath and what that means, and that you're not safe, and that people do things to us. They impact us. They don't. They don't. It's a profound awareness that we have to start remembering over and over and over and over and over again. We have to break out of that story. More and more and more of us are going to become more and more sensitive. How could we not? We are in an energetic world. We're in energy. All energy is feeling. And so, of course, you're going to feel everything. It's insane that we haven't. But we haven't because we forgot what we're in. You know, we forgot what we are standing in. Oh, yeah, it's energy. Oh, yeah, everything's going to be felt. Oh, my senses are going to get more and more sensitive. I'm going to see more, feel more, hear more. And the more that we can be distracted, okay, the more that humanity can be distracted by stories, by other people, by social media, by corruption, all the shit that's happening, the more we can be distracted from being inside our physical body, feeling what is occurring in our physical body, being present. Thanks, Richard, once again, my friend, for your super chat. If we get distracted, which is what's happening, there are more and more distractions on the planet. Distractions will continue. It's going to get louder. The distractions are going to get louder and louder and louder. The distractions are going to be more and more manipulative. Story after story after story after story after story. This is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening. It's beautiful to have the awareness of what's happening on the planet, but nothing's going to change if you don't go into your own internal world and start figuring out how to be safe inside it, free inside it. Is your focus constantly on the external world, or are you focused on the internal world? What are you actually focused on? The more and more that I am turning my focus back inward, always with this deep remembrance of what my spirit is doing here on the planet. Always remembering there are two realities, always. There is a physical reality that is very relative, it's very real. And there is the absolute reality, which is that I am none of this, that none of this is actually real. It is the story, it is the illusion. And this illusion, this story is very real. Being able to hold both of those simultaneously every day is the power that breaks us free. It's truly the secret pill that we take and that we hold throughout our day. And when you start to remember this over and over and over again, you actually start living it, not just speaking it out loud as if it's some prophecy that you know is really powerful, but you're not actually practicing. When you start actually practicing it as an embodied state of being, you realize that the only place your focus needs to be on is internally. The moment that we become free within our own being, then we become free in the world. We can listen to all the stories. We can go down all the rabbit holes. We can watch all the manipulation and coercion and greed and horrible things that are happening on the planet that will continue to happen. And we can take baby steps to assist and to help humanity. It's a beautiful gift that we have on the planet, is to help humanity. Thank you, Elaine, for the super chat. Thanks so much. One of the reasons we're here is to help humanity navigate this. But it's a very different way of being if you have the internal gaze first, where you are no longer controlled by your thoughts or your emotions. And that practice of having an internal gaze while still looking out at the world, it takes practice. How do I continue to look in at my thoughts? How do I continue to look in and feel the emotions? What emotions are you running from? What thoughts are you believing to be true about you? What are you still blaming on other people? What still triggers you? What judgments are you holding around others? What judgments are you holding around yourself? Is there a compassion and a kindness around how you're showing up in the world in the best way that you can? Do you have compassion and kindness for how others are showing up in the best way that they can? Or are you still judging? Are you still pointing the finger? Are you still trying to point out how all these other people have issues and traumas and pains? When we are standing on this planet from an open-hearted, compassionate, loving space, we no longer need to point out people's traumas. We no longer need to create a divide. You're right, I'm wrong. You just don't. You no longer need to tell people how they should or shouldn't be. You let people be. You allow humanity to do what humanity is going to do as it does it. And you take full responsibility for yourself. You take full responsibility for how you're showing up in the world. And you ask yourself every single day, am I showing up through the lens of compassion and kindness, or am I showing up through the lens of judgment, criticism, divide? And just questioning that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Really paying attention, you guys, to the distractions right now. Everything's going to happen. Everything. And in my opinion, if you know or you don't know, is it going to better your life? What I mean when I say that is, the more knowledge you have about things, the more you read up on things, the more you study things, the more you learn about this or that, about the corruption here and the corruption there and all of these things. Does that free you? Does it really actually create a sense of safety in the world? Or do you feel more afraid? Do you feel like you need to have more control? Do you have more divide in your body? Is there more angst and more anger? Just a question, just curious. No idea how it is that you feel. What happens when you just pay attention to the stories that are being literally thrown into our mouths? Pay attention to this, pay attention to that, pay attention to this story, pay attention to that story. Everything that we are given to pay attention to, which is all part of the story, it's all part of the corruption, it's all part of the manipulation. Whatever we're being asked to pay attention to is being asked to pay attention to for a reason. And how you are being in it is the bigger question you want to ask yourself. Thank you, Annie, for the super chat. Anything in this world that pulls you into fear, divide, restriction, resistance, control, you want to pay attention to. That's not freeing you, and that's not freeing humanity. It's perpetuating what it is that we are naturally designed to flow out of. What you want to ask yourself is, regardless of what it is that I am being thrown at, stories in the external world, things that are happening in my own world through friends and family, am I in a state of calm? Am I allowing the emotional states that are arising because of it, am I allowing those emotional states to just move through me? Am I making somebody wrong and somebody right? Is there restriction in my body when I'm experiencing these things? Or am I in receptivity that everything is happening exactly the way it's designed to happen, and I don't have to fight against it? Is there a feeling of no longer needing to control in the same way, that something is magically, divinely occurring right now on the planet? Thank you so much, Caroline, for the super chat. We are being asked to be in new ways of being in order to assist an entire human collective. These new ways of being start from the inside, internally. And everything in the external world is going to try to pull you out of that. And so what starts to happen, what I've noticed starting to happen, is that things can happen in my life, things that I wasn't expecting, that I didn't necessarily want. And there is a sense of calm. There is a deep, deep trust in what's occurring. There is no longer pointing the finger or getting upset with an individual in my life that is doing something, that is choosing to be a certain way. It's not a detachment or a bypassing. It is simply recognizing that there is this quite magnificent and beautiful process that's occurring on the planet that's pulling humanity out of the illusion that they are not safe to be here, that they are not safe to feel emotion, that they are not safe to recognize thought, and that they have to be in a controlled state in order to be safe, in order to feel as if they're okay here. It doesn't matter how many systems you and I tear down. It doesn't matter who we put up in our governmental systems. It doesn't matter how many people we pull out of the pharmaceutical companies, the banking systems. None of that matters, because if humanity themselves do not change from the inside out, these systems that are on the planet will just continue to perpetuate. They'll just be rebuilt. This evolution is an internal evolution that then is reflected in the external world. The more we think that we are going to change this entire world by changing the external world, unfortunately, is the biggest illusion. Humanity, every human has to change the way they are being on the planet. That's how we change this world. You can't get rid of how humans are choosing to be. What are we going to do? Kill off all the people that are evil? There's still the opportunity to experience greed on this planet. There is still an opportunity to experience fear on this planet. There is still an opportunity to experience and control the minds of humanity. That is a part of what is allowed here. It is an experience. It is a consciousness that is offered in the third dimension. The evolution in human consciousness is humans stand in those opportunities in that quantum field, and they start choosing to be in new ways. That is how a human collective changes. Each human has to choose and change the way they are being on the planet. And the sad thing is that we are continuing to unconsciously perpetuate fear and divide by arguing with each other, by fighting each other, because there is anger inside of us, because there is a distrust in what is unraveling and how it's unraveling, because there is a belief that if I don't stand up and speak my truth and fight for what is mine or what is right, that it's going to happen. And what is becoming very apparent to me in this awakening and in this evolution is that until and unless the Lori character that I am recognizes the way in which she is being on this planet, if she is being from fear, identification, division, control, restrictive, allowing the thoughts to control her, so she's running from thoughts, allowing emotions to control her, so she's running from emotions. As long as all of that is playing out, the Lori character will continue to spin herself in this idea that she's got to figure out how to get through this evolution, this process of awakening. And what simply needs to happen is that the Lori character needs to continue to sit in stillness throughout her day, whether she's walking or driving or running or talking to people or doing, I can be doing 1,000 different things and still be able to practice stillness and pay attention to the thoughts that move through Lori's mind. Pay attention to the emotions that move through Lori's body. Pay attention to what Lori resists and restricts and what Lori allows. And the more that I can do that, the more that my heart opens for humanity, the more I am able to stand with any other human that has any other thought or belief or response or reaction. And I'm capable of holding it. I'm capable of allowing it. I don't get triggered as often. I don't try to change people as often as I used to. I don't argue with people as often as I used to. I am more free. I am more, doesn't mean that I am a perfect human, because I'm not a perfect human. I have trauma that arises. I have patterns that arise. I have deep programs that are still trying to be deprogrammed within me. Anyone that acts as though they are no longer participating in trauma, limiting beliefs, triggers, are the ones you want to pay close attention to. Those are the ones you really want to question. Life starts to become easier as we start to become more vulnerable to what it is we are feeling and what it is we are thinking, because it's not who we are. And the best way for us to impact the entire human collective, which is why you are here, is to pay attention to how you are being. What you run from, what you're trying to change. I'll say this, and I'll say it as many times as I need to say it. I'll say it a billion times over. We all incarnated at this time to be in this evolution. We all forgot what this is about, and we all forgot how to do it. All of us. And we all, as consciousness, spirits, God, knew that we would forget. We knew we would come down into a physical body, a precious physical body that was completely designed to be able to hold our light in the most miraculous way ever. Thinking about how an actual physical body holds God is incredible. It's a miracle. Fact that we run around all day bitching and moaning and complaining, not realizing that we are literally God inside physical form. That in and of itself should make us drop to our knees every single freaking day saying, holy shit, I can't believe I'm alive. But instead, we bitch and moan and complain about every single possible thing happening out there. And we forget the greatest gift, which is that somehow I am an essence of God, of source, of light, of love inside a very dense physical form that has arms and legs and a torso and a neck and a head. Sounds silly, but it's quite profound. And what's even more disturbing is that we are here to literally remember what we have always been in the midst of a chaotic evolutionary shift in consciousness, where we are going to be shown the intense experiences that humanity has been in and has been imprisoned in for thousands and thousands of years. So it's going to get louder and be more distracting. It's like the game's getting harder and harder to play. We're going up in levels. And you are being asked every single freaking day to remember what the freak you're doing here and to stop getting caught up in the damn freaking game. Stop getting caught up in these fucking stories that are distracting you from remembering that you're God in form. If you can't remember that you're God in form, if you can't treat people with kindness and compassion, if you can't recognize that you're not your thoughts and your emotions and you're continuing to run from your own states of being inside of you, slow the fuck down right now. Who cares what's coming next? Who cares about the solar flashes? Who cares about the 5G? Who cares about the alien invasions that are not actually happening? Who cares about all of the destruction that's happening on the planet? If you are not able to actually just sit in your own freaking body and take self-responsibility for what you are feeling and what you are thinking and no longer blaming it on everybody else, we got a long ways to go. The distractions are our worst enemies right now. The distractions are just as distracting as watching a television show with the commercials on. There's only so much information, and then it just becomes information that's distracting you. It's distracting humanity from our greatest power, which is our internal beingness. It's mind-blowing to me how this is unraveling and how it's like, oh my God, oh Lord. I want to find out about this. I want to find out about that, but knowledge is power. No, knowledge is going to come. Information is going to come. It's going to continue to come and continue to come. I promise you, the more that you awaken, the more that you are going to realize that all of this that's unraveling is great. It's just information, but it's not going to set you free. You can watch every YouTube video that you want about every subject and everything that's unraveling and everything that's occurring, and you will still not be free. True freedom and what we are here to freaking remember is that there is an embodiment of spirit in form that is being required of you first. Everything else is second. And this is about recognizing that you are a character called Katie and Gina and Pauline and Lisa and Bill, Lars, Catherine. That's the character you're playing. And it's a beautiful character. But there is an essence beyond that character, a watcher, a god, a spirit, whatever word you want to use, that's inside your physical form right now that has to be integrated and embodied as wholeness. It has to. It's part of the process of evolution. It's impossible for it not to. And we are in a world that is really loud. It's loud externally, and we love the external loudness because then we don't have to sit in our internal loudness. We would much rather watch some sort of video telling us what's happening in the world than sit with ourselves in stillness and listen to what's happening in our internal world. It's a lot easier. I'll just get distracted. I'll bitch and moan and complain about how horrible the world is and how we're going to hell in a handbasket and how there's all this evil, and there's the new world order, and there's this and there's that, and there's these families that are controlling the world. What happens when you sit in your own stillness? What's scarier? Feeling the depths of your own darkness, or feeling the depths of the darkness out there? If you can sit with your darkest demons within your own body, the things that you are most afraid of, the external world will be a walk in the park. The change is miraculous. What will happen is miraculous. The world will shift so quickly if we can do this. It's just I think it's going to take a long time for people to realize that it's actually an inward shift first. You got to put the mask on yourself first. So there's a lot of compassion for how humanity is navigating this. And there's no right or wrong way of doing this, but this is a cellular memory that you hold within your body. It's cellular. It's an absolute knowingness. And there's no amount of kind of healing work or trauma work that's going to assist you in embodying the essence that you are. You can embody the essence that you are with trauma. It doesn't matter. It's right here, right now. And that's one of the beautiful pieces about, recognizing that it's not linear what we're doing here. It's not like, oh, you've got to heal this and then heal this and then heal this. And then, you'll be this beautiful, enlightened, loving human. You're still going to hurt people. People are still going to hurt you. You're still going to, trigger people, and people are still going to trigger you as you move deeper and deeper into your own awakening, and humanity does. There is no, thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I like your little space guy. Is he on a chair? He's on a chair with fire. Fire! It's the little things in life, you guys, that are most important. It truly is. It's how we treat people. Part of the experience right now is that we're overstimulated. Humanity is overstimulated, and when you start to stop focusing on what other people are doing, which is an overstimulation. Stop focusing on all the external stories, which is an overstimulation. And you start to just listen to yourself a little bit more, listen to the character that you're playing. Listen to your emotions and thoughts. And look at the way you behave, and you just start having this deeper inward focus. Um, Everything starts to shift in your world. It's not that you don't keep watching what's happening. It's not that you don't have knowledge of what's going on in the world. You're just standing in it from a much different frequency. Much different frequency. We're designed to be able to go through this in a state of calm and stillness, with emotion, with thoughts going through, with behaviors being experienced and expressed. Not bypassing or pretending, but being in it, in a state of calm, in a state of compassion, being vulnerable, being authentic. If your authenticity upsets people, then that just is what it is. If your way of doing life upsets people and it doesn't jive with people, then that is what it is. You're going to lose a lot of people in your life and you're going to gain new people in your life. It just is what it is. You're not better than anybody else. You're not more enlightened than somebody else. You're not more healed than somebody else. That frame, that way of looking at things is very, very dangerous. You're just doing the character of you, and others around you. Thank you, Steve, for the super chat. Others around you are doing the character that they're doing. And who are we to say what is right or wrong for that individual? Preferences, who you want in your life, who you don't want in your life, how you want to be, how you don't want to be, how you're showing up. But it's an interesting time, I'll tell you that much, on this planet. I can say one thing. I can say a lot of things personally, but one thing is that the more I've had awareness around the corruption on this planet since I was 12 or 13 years old. The moment 9/11 happened, I knew in that moment that the government did it. I didn't have to go talk to my mom. I didn't have to talk to anybody. I knew. All these things that have been happening, I know all of this stuff. Does it help me become a better human? No. Does it help me be more kind? No. Thank you, Katie. Does my knowledge and awareness and sharing that knowledge and awareness necessarily help humanity shift into higher states of consciousness? No, not from my experience. Now, knowledge is important. Sharing information is important. I'm not saying it's not important. It's extremely important to bring new knowledge and information to the table. That is how you awaken humanity. But at some point, you have to realize that if you are not going inward, the evolution in human consciousness cannot happen. It can't. It will take a much longer time. Period. So my question to you today is, what distracts you? What pulls you out of your own beingness, recognizing what you are doing, what you are feeling, what you are thinking? And this isn't a selfish thing where it's like it's all about you. No. The more that we can focus on how it is that we are being in this world, the faster we will be able to have a really profound impact on humanity. Think about this. If you're no longer being triggered by people, you are going to be able to love people easier, accept people easier, have more compassion for people. That's just one example. And the way that you are no longer triggered by people in the same way is that you are recognizing within yourself what you believe to be true about you, the thoughts, the emotional states, the limiting beliefs. So the more that you can see how you view yourself as this character, the more you break free from those beliefs that it's who you are. And then when someone comes into your life and triggers you, the only reason it's a trigger is it's because it's something within you that you are denying yourself to believe yourself to be. And so it triggers you and you want to argue and get mad at it, right? And then you perform in a way as a human that is not of the highest good. And then that person gets upset and blah, blah, freaking blah. But if there is an inward focus all the time and you are so profoundly and courageously aware of who you think you are, of what you think you're worth or not worth, how you think you need to be viewed by the world, how important it is for people to see you or to be liked or to be loved, all of these different ways in which you have held these limiting beliefs about yourself, emotional states that you believe are not okay to feel, whatever that is, the more that you yourself take self-responsibility and go inward to take a look and to pay attention and to listen to, the less you will be triggered. And the less you're triggered, the more you will be kind and compassionate to people, no matter what they say, no matter what their truths are, no matter how they need to show up in the world. It won't impact you in the same way. And that's how we change the entire world through a domino effect. So you can be aware of all the shit that goes on. How do you treat people? How do you treat yourself? The knowledge is going to continue to spew out to all of us. Thank God. Thank God. So this isn't about, oh, just being silent around what's happening on the planet. What the fuck does it matter? Excuse my language, but what in the fuck does it matter if you are not capable of being kind to people naturally? If you're still pretending to be somebody that you're not, if you're still running from emotional states because you're afraid to be in them, if you're still believing limiting thoughts that will keep you in a controlled state by all of the systems that you're bitching and moaning about, that you're pretending to be not controlled by any longer. Bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit on that if you are still believing limiting thoughts about yourself that are not true. If you still allow thoughts to control you, if you are not recognizing that thoughts just are and they aren't who you are, then you will still be controlled by the systems that you are bitching and moaning about. And all of us still are. This is a humbling experience of awakening. Humbling. If we are still not capable of keeping our hearts open and being kind to people that we don't understand, you better go back inward. Stop listening to the external bullshit that tells you all kinds of stories about this and that. If you're still trying to change people, you need to go back in. Yeah, kind to the dark side of yourself. If you can't embrace the darkest parts of you, which isn't even you, if you can't feel safe in your own inner world, If you're still judging what you're feeling, if you're still judging what you're thinking, if you're still judging that part of you, which listen, I do all the time. I do all the time. I'm constantly aware of judgments that I hold about myself. I'm constantly asking myself, what am I not okay feeling? At this point, I feel basically everything and I allow it to be okay. But the limiting thoughts, I'm acutely aware of. What am I still thinking about myself? What do I believe about myself? What are the thoughts I'm having right now? What are the thoughts I'm having right now? What are the thoughts? And then you know what happens? The more I do that, the more I go inward all day long as I'm still engaging with the world, as I am still assisting other people, as I am still smiling and doing acts of kindness, how I am interacting in the world changes. I am not waiting for the external world to change in order for my inner world to change. This will go on for years and years and years. 5 years from now, unfortunately, we'll most likely be talking about very similar things. We're just going to start realizing more and more as we navigate this massive, miraculous evolution is that how we thought we were going to do it is actually not how it occurs. And so we're just going to have to go through it to recognize that. Anything that puts you in a state of fear is designed to disempower you. Hey, Wes. In and through the body. It's crazy what we're in. It's crazy what we forgot. It's the most empowered place that you can be is in all of it. When you stop trying to change emotions, when you stop trying to change thoughts, because you remember that you're none of it, I promise you, you will start experiencing this world in a way that you never imagined possible. And then you become this empowered, badass lion and lioness, recognizing that nothing can destroy you because it's not you and you can feel it all. Nothing can control you because you don't have fear around any of it, because there's no fear of death. If you have no fear of thoughts and no fear of emotions and no fear of death, you cannot be controlled. Period. And if humanity begins to remember this, and their hearts will open so massively, they will be the most empowered human on the fucking planet. And then it's go time. The only way we get there is by going inward over and over and over and stop fucking focusing on how other people need to change, what other people are doing to you, other people's traumas and problems and issues. Free yourself. Let everybody else do what they're going to do. Your own compassion and kindness and love and receptivity and openness and freedom changes humans around you naturally. When someone recognizes that they can just be whatever they are, however they are in your presence, that shifts them, that changes them. They'll say, wait a second, you don't want to argue this? You don't want to fight against this? You don't want to tell me how I'm wrong? You don't want to defend yourself? No, I don't. You stop defending yourself when you start realizing that you're not who everyone tells you that you are. You stop defending yourself when you know that you're not the thoughts and the emotions. What's there to defend? There's no need to defend what you're not. Someone calls you selfish or inconsiderate, or unconscious or whatever it is, and you just, or you're acting selfish or unkind or inconsiderate or whatever that is. It's allowed. Perhaps you were, but it's allowed. Why would I defend it? It's a choice. It's the way that person is perceiving it. It's the way I'm perceiving it. And in that moment, I get to choose if I'm going to behave in the same way again or change it the way I behave. But if you're attached to behavior, if you're attached to thoughts, if you're attached to emotional states, you will defend until you die who you are. And that's the illusion. And when you stop defending yourself, the other person recognizes that perhaps there's a deeper attachment and state of suffering that they're in. True vulnerability is, hey, you're doing this, hey, you're doing that, hey, I'm feeling this, hey, I'm feeling that, and then it's gone into the next moment. That's the flow state. That's awareness, that's awakening. There's no grudges. It just all is. It's all being experienced as whatever it is that's being experienced in that moment. But it's that deeper attachment to being that creates the grudges, and it creates the issues that you may find within yourself and with other people. Listen to your intuition, you guys. Listen to your intuition more and more. Listen to it. Listen to what feels right to you and only you. We are really, really, really being inundated right now with all kinds of other people's beliefs and thoughts, especially on social media, man. It's overloaded. You can't not be told what to think and feel and behave, be, and all of that. So really, really turning on your own radar right now and trusting that more than anything else is key. Key. I'll see you in Dublin, Rose. And anyone that tells you what to think or tells you what to feel or tells you how to be, really question that. Question people that tell you that you need to change your vibration. They don't understand that you're God and that God doesn't change vibration. God sees the character that you are as absolutely perfect in whatever vibration you're at. It's quite ridiculous when you begin to really awaken out of the illusion that you're the character, and you hear people say, well, you better change your vibration, otherwise you're not going to be able to do this or that. It's like, who's saying that? If I'm essence, if I'm God, if I'm all that is, if I am pure perfection and consciousness, spirit, soul, whatever, I'm not distorted. The character playing, on the movie scene in that on that set in there feels distorted, feels like they need to change their vibration. It's all a game, it's all an illusion, it's all a freaking story. It's all a trap. We are God. Being a part of God, being an aspect of God is being God. When you split from source, you are an aspect of source. Therefore, you are God. You are source. It lowers the body's vibration, not your vibration. So there's a difference between the vibration that is your body, which is not you, and you, the spirit, the essence, the soul, whatever you want to call it. That vibration never changes. And this is the really deep confusion that people have as humans. They don't understand that. Your body's vibration is always changing. And your body's vibration has an impact on how it the lens that you will use to see the world. But it is not you. You, what we would call you, is pure essence, is an aspect of God, it is spirit, whatever word you want to use. And it's inside. Right now, it is inside your physical body. And so, how do I know? Watch a near-death experience video. Near-death experience video, something leaves the body and looks down. So there is an aspect of you that is this beautiful essence of vibration of God that never changes its frequency. That's the part of you that you want to come to over and over and over again. That's the watcher. That's the absolute truth. That's the absolute reality. And then it's encased in a physical body that changes vibration and frequency, but that's not you. And the way that you allow the body to naturally begin to vibrate and move into a frequency that's similar to your natural beingness, which is the God in you, thank you, Danielle, so much for the super chat, is that you allow every emotion to move through. You allow every thought to move through. You allow the body to be in its highest state by letting everything move through it, by breathing, by grounding, by connecting to nature, which is God, over and over and over again. What does it mean to open your heart? How does it feel to have an open heart as some spiritual people say? Yeah, I'm always like, what is an open heart? I have the same. Thank you for the super chat. I got to get going. We're past the hour, but an open heart to me is basically being receptive in life, being open to life, trusting life, that life is not out to get me, that I am safe to be in life. If I have an open heart, I am opening to life. I'm trusting it. I'm allowing myself to feel, and I'm allowing myself to connect to life, to humanity, to nature, to the world. I'm open. There's a receptivity. When the heart is closed, right, there's a restriction in life, a tightness in life, not feeling safe in life, feeling like you have to control, that you have to protect, that you have to guard yourself. Yeah. And Align 4.0 is going to start in October. All right, you guys, I love you very much. If you're going to be in Washington, D.C., join me this weekend for the Near Death IANDS conference. I'll leave the link in the details below. I'll be speaking on Saturday, but it's going to be a really powerful, really fun conference. International Association for Near-Death Studies, Washington, D.C., August 31st to September 3rd. And I'll be speaking on the 2nd. I'll leave that down below. All right. I love you guys. I will see you next Tuesday for another episode of Untangled. It will be at 10 a.m. again because of a class that I'm teaching, but it will go back to 9 a.m. California time. All right. Love you guys. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with others. Please be more kind to humanity. Be more kind to yourself. We're all doing the best we can. And I'll see you next week. Mwah.